21, where we're going to talk about the New Jerusalem, because most people don't realize that in Christianity, you don't go to a place called heaven for eternity. You actually go to a new earth, okay, that's recreated after God destroys the old earth with fire, and then, like it says in Peter, and then there the elements melt with fervent heat, and then the New Jerusalem descends, okay, and according to Revelation, and by the way, none of this is literal, as you're going to see, okay. But those who do take it literal, they take the stories as I'm going to present them, and they just tell them to you as if they were literal. But let me ask you if this sounds very literal to you. Revelations chapter 21. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the name of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth four square. The length is as large as the breadth, that he measured the city with the reed 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. So you have a cube, right? Well, I'm not going to draw this three-dimensionally. I'm just going to give you the measurements, but we're going to reduce them without the extra zero. So instead of saying 12,000 furlongs, we're going to say 12 furlongs. So let's start with a circle. This is freehand. Pretend that my circles and my squares are perfect, okay? Pretend they're perfect circles. Pretend they're perfect squares. Do the best I can right here, okay? So this is Earth. All right. Then we're going to draw a square around it, which would be the perimeter of the Earth, which is based on the diameter of the Earth, which is 7,920 miles, but we're just going to do the conversion with furlongs and make it feet. So 7,920 is feet is 12 furlongs. Okay, now let's go to the next step and put in the moon right here. Now, the moon's 2,160 miles across, right? Now, if we take a circle outside of the square, which would go through the moon, like this, now we've created a circle that is going to be 6.666 miles. Pretty interesting. All right. Now, the smaller circle will have an area of 6,660,000 megalithic yards. So you see, you're dealing with two units. You can always convert these things to megalithic yards. They would use several different systems. In the book of John, we were talking last week, you could use megalithic yards and the Greek cubit. All right, but we're not using cubits in this one. So John used at least 3 different measuring systems, including our modern feet and the furlongs and so on. All right, now, if we draw moons that fit around this shape here, you can fit a total of 3 moons on each side. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, let's go back to Revelation chapter 21. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. 12 walls. Now, the moon, of course, represents grace, okay? And this goes way back. It's based on the feminine virtues, the divine feminine, if you will. Even Christ may be based on Yahrik, the moon from Hebrew, possibly. That those words sound like they could be connected to me. Uh, can't promise you that. So, and no, I don't pronounce Hebrew right. Remember, I'm not a scholar. I'm just a guy trying to figure this stuff out. So if you want to argue with me and you just want to say I'm totally wrong or whatever, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to be like, well, this is what I've learned. If you could show me something different and persuade me, hey, I do make mistakes. You're welcome to positively try to build on what I'm learning. I'm just trying to understand and explore reality for myself. Okay. So, doesn't mean that I know everything. Did I get this from Kabbalah, by the way? No, I didn't get it from Kabbalah. I have never had Kabbalah literature. Okay. John Mitchell here does not appear to be looking straight out of the any Kabbalah. He's just you can do this stuff with a calculator and just knowing the real measurements of the cosmos. It's that simple. So even if you were to burn all the Kabbalah literature in the world down, somebody 1,000 years from now is probably going to pick it back up and write it all back out again, because it's just based on the real measurements of the Earth and the Moon and the Sun. Okay, so you can't get around it. It will automatically appear no matter what. Okay, so the moon being the feminine virtues of grace, Jesus brought grace. Remember, Jesus was grace and truth. Okay, in the Old Testament, you had just the sun, but Jesus, who in Malachi chapter 4, verse 2, was called the Son of Righteousness, in Revelation, we find out, let's see if I can find it real quick. And there shall be no night there, and they need no candle, neither light of the sun, for the Lord God giveth them light, and they shall reign forever and ever. So you have God himself being the light of heaven. All right. And Jesus is also the Son in Malachi chapter 4, too, the Son of Righteousness. But John says he's full of grace and truth. So he's bringing not only the truth of the Son that reveals everything, but the grace of forgiveness and all that. So the moon is like grace, it's like softness, it's the softer light, the feminine virtues. And that's why you have 12 disciples. Not only are there the 12 zodiac signs, but you have 12 smaller moons around Jesus, who is bringing the grace of truth. So the grace, not only the truth of the sun, but the grace of the moon along to humanity through forgiveness. So you have 12 moons that can fit around the earth. You can't actually fit any more in here. Okay. So that's all it'll fit. So there you have 12. Now think about this number 66666 here. We're going to get into what I discovered in the mound. So just hang on to that number for just a minute. Now, if you try to draw this as best I can, and I am freehanding it, by the way. Okay, so keep mentioning that, but somebody's going to say it doesn't look right. Well, it would if I was drawing it on paper with, perfectly. All right. So let's draw the dodecahedron. Dodecagon is the right word. Around this. And if you do it right and everything's perfect, you'll have 1, 2, 3. See, this is very hard to do, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And these will actually be touching. So this is very hard to do freehand. I'm not an artist. I have no artistic skills at all. At the end of the day, you'll end up with 12 sides that will fit around this thing. That'll be a dodecahedron, okay? So, or dodecagon, technically. All right, so you have 12 sides, and they're all named after the apostles or the 12 moons in the city of Revelation, right there in Revelation, like we said. So they go through and they name each one of the gates. Let's see. Just to give you an idea, if you're not familiar with Revelation, let's see where to go here. Each one's a different pearl. They're named after the 12 apostles. Oh, yeah. The wall of the city had 12 foundations. So this is the foundation. And in them, the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. So that's why you got 12 apostles and 12 sides of the dodecagon. All right. So that is the floor plan, the two-dimensional version of the city of Revelation. Now, I can't draw this three-dimensionally, but notice we read 21:16. So this is Revelation 21:16. And the city lieth foursquare, the length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. So if you cube that, okay, you got your square right here. If you can do this three-dimensionally, I can do the cube part three-dimensional. Now, like 2116, you have 2160. Just pretend these ones go together here, okay? 2,160 degrees total in a square. Add up all the little 90-degree angles in a square. It equals 2,160. And the diameter of each one of these moons, 2,160. That's why this verse is in Revelations 21:16. Okay? The people who translated this in the King James Bible knew very much exactly what John was talking about. Now, here's the interesting part. If that's not interesting enough, which that's pretty fascinating, really. Now, in Marietta, I have a mound that is a cone. So this is an overhead view of the mound. The mound I found by using string, and it has two circles around it, okay, in the form of a ditch, a dugout area that goes around it. All right. So by using a string, you saw my last videos, I made this square here to find the diameter. And I found that the diameter of the mound is 136 and then feet. And then this area to here is 36 feet. Now, here's what's really fascinating about this. These are the mound builders that people call, primitive Indians or whatever. And I object to that because these people were not primitive or stupid in the slightest. Let's take the 7,920 diameter of Earth divided by the moon's diameter, and we have 3.6. Well, take this, or 3.7, around this 3.7 rather, 3.7. Now take 136 divided by 36, and guess what? Same thing, 3.7. Rounds to 3.7. That's in the mounds, okay? I measured this moat, okay, when I went around with my little stick with the wheel on it, and the meter turns and tells me the exact feet. So I carefully as I could, I went around this entire little ditch area in Marietta, all right? And you won't believe this because two guys from Canada came up as I was doing it. And right as I was getting back around to the edge of the circle, I lifted up my little wheel with the numbers on it. I said, "What's that say?" He says, "Oh, 666 feet. Wow, right? These people knew exactly what they were doing. This is a mirror of this in a smaller proportion. How did these people, who were they really? I don't think they were primitive Hopewell, Adena types that try to lump them in with just the other Native Americans that came in after, like the Shawnee and Wyandot and all these Ohio tribes. These people came before, and that's why you hear stories from people like L.A. Marzulli, which I don't agree with everything L.A. Marzulli says, obviously, but he does talk to Indians that have stories that say, listen, we didn't build the mounds, they were here when we came. I suspect he's telling the truth about that. Okay, I suspect those Indians are telling the truth. I think whichever culture built this knew this. So they had to have been a little closer to Greek. They had to know measurements like furlongs and megalithic yards. I don't think the Shawnee and the Wyandot and all those different tribes that came after knew any of that math. by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, so you could draw a moon right here, and it would be proportionate to the Earth here, right there in Marietta Mounds. Absolutely mind blowing. Okay, how did they know that? Where did it come from? Who were those people? I would love to know. I would love to find this out. But that's what the Bible's really telling you. This is when John writes this down. He's using these measurements. He's taken Plato's perfect city from a Greek understanding, 5, 6, 700 years prior, and he's writing it into the book of Revelation. So this was an exercise from somebody trying to present an esoteric knowledge to people, not meant to be literal. This is why in Revelation, where it says if you take anything out of the book or add anything to it, there's some curses and things that are applied. Let me just read it to you here. Let's see if I can find it real quick. I don't want to say it wrong, but some of you know. Here it is, almost the last book or last verse in Revelation, chapter 22, verse 19. And if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city. There's the holy city. Okay, so you're gonna lose your part out of it. All right, and from the things which are written in this book. And the verse before says, if you add unto it, you'll add to the plagues that are written in this book. All right, so if you get these numbers wrong, aren't going to be able to draw. So you're going to mess up your version of the holy city if you take some of these numbers out. This is why the King James Bible and the translators did their very best to put things like this number and the height, breadth, and width of the cubical city of the New Jerusalem in chapter 21, verse 16. The King James translators, some of them had to have been esotericists. Some people think maybe even Francis Bacon may have helped translate some of this. So I don't know if that's true or not, but if he's really Shakespeare, and you see in some of Shakespeare's works, you see codes and things like that, it seems to stand to reason that he would understand this knowledge very well. All right. So this is also an 11 to 3, right? 11 divided by 3 is also 3.7. So look for this. And what's with 3.7? Why is this so important? Because if they didn't care much about decimal points back then, you could just kind of overlook that. Well, 37, this is how multiples of it, you get 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. And I know 37 times 18 is 666, right? So that's another reason they would have added that. By the way, this center mound right here is about 36 feet high. Oh, and guess what? Not only is the circle around the mound 666 feet tall, but it's also 660 feet above sea level. And you're going to call these people primitive? You're going to say they're like the Shawnee and the Wyandot? Maybe they use some of the same tools because you get isolated, but they kept their geometry. And by the way, they built mounds at least 2,500 years ago that are still the same shape, that don't collect water and don't erode. How? I don't know. Now, this square that I drew around the mound right there, there's actually 3 mounds in Marietta. Okay. So I took my little measuring device with the wheel on it, and I went to the second mound in Marietta. It's a flat mound, a platform mound. All right. And so I'm going to draw the overhead view. So the outside edge was very, very hard to measure because there's roads and to cut it off. This is cut. There's a library sitting on top of this. This part's just cut. And it's just kind of, it's really hard to get at the bottom. All right. But the top of it is still fairly much intact. And it is not a rectangle that might look like it here on my board because I'm freehanding it. but it was a perfect square. Okay. And that square was 136, 136, 136, 136. Exactly the same as the perimeter of the cone. I mean, the diameter of the cone at the first mound. These people were geniuses, folks. Okay. And I found this by putting string around it and using the ditch that they created. You can go back and look at my videos where I'm doing this. I'm showing you the string, and I marked it off, and I used the string to find the diameter of the cone of the first mound. Okay, this mound they gave them some interesting names up in Marietta. You can look them up, but good luck finding measurements. I had to go pretty much do this myself. They call that one Conus. They call this one Capitolium. I don't know where they get these names. Don't ask me. All right. And there is a third mound, but the measurements didn't mean a whole lot to me. Okay. So there was one more mound, and it's pretty big. It was like 200. I don't even remember. I got it wrote down here somewhere, but it doesn't matter. What I discovered, though, is that when I went down the solstice, the sun rises on June 21st right here in this direction from this mound. And then it sets right here on a way called Sacra Via, that they call it, Sacra Via. And it used to be, there were 36-foot high mounds of dirt, according to the surveyors back in the 1800s, Squire and Davis. Huge mounds of dirt that no longer exist, that went from this third mound here down to the Muskingum River. All right. And this is a long pathway. It's about the size of Serpent Mound. It's pretty close, okay? Reasonably close. And the winter solstice on December 21st, the sun sets directly right between this path called Sacra Via. So this is just an awesome place. I'm thrilled that I get to live in this area and get to study this, because so many of the other mounds have been destroyed. Now, there's already, some of this was destroyed when they made, like I said, these mounds of dirt that used to be here lined in this path. Now they just have a road here, but it's marked, right? And every year they go and there's like a park here, and there's roads on the side, and there's a park in between it. And every year the natives and people come down, they watch the sunset here. I came in the summer on the 21st and watched it rise over here. So you got this, perfect little solar pattern, or sunrise, sunset, and the mounds seem to be marking it. It also appears, though I wouldn't swear to this, okay, that these three mounds might be a reverse of Orion's belt, because when I put it on my phone and I put a piece of paper, and I did the pyramids in Egypt, which mirror Orion's belt, and I flipped the paper over, the dots came exactly to the top of the pyramid. So when I traced, so as the light shines through it, I could put the little dot, and they were in exactly the same place. I know that's not very scientific, so maybe somebody can help me figure that out better. Somebody that knows math and can help me with this. So, but it appears that these three mounds mark that. There's also megalithic measurements between this mound and this mound, which I think, if I could be mistaken, I'll have to go back and look, but I think it's the same as Serpent Mound, also in Ohio. So it's the same builders. I have to go. Don't quote me on that. So let's see. Oh, and the dirt from these walls that used to go down to the river that were 36 feet high. Okay, according to some of the earliest surveyors before they tore it down. They tore it down. They built a Unitarian church that still exists. So Marietta is a great city to go explore because they turned. And this church, the Unitarian church, is still in use. I went and visited the pastor, took a tour of it once. It's a woman pastor. They're real liberal and all this stuff. I wouldn't get into their crazy politics, but their building and their history is really fascinating. They had the Transcendentalist guy from the 1820s and 30s come out. Ralph Waldo Emerson, he came out and preached there. And it's a different color. This church's bricks are different color bricks than the rest of the city. And I think it's because they used this real nice dirt that these mound builders left. So absolutely fascinating stuff in these mounds. Who were these people? I'd like to know. Where did they really come from? They were geniuses. They were familiar with Platonism. And that's the story of your Bible, written right there in the mounds. It's not meant to be literal. You will spend the rest of your life agonizing, believing crazy things like I did for many years, terrorizing people, and putting extreme restrictions and rules on your life that don't have to be there because you think something that is meant to be mathematical for you to explore inner truth for yourself, to try to enlighten your own knowledge of the cosmos and become sort of more, I don't know, this is the best word, but resonant with how the universe functions within yourself. Uh, the I hate that word vibrate, but people like to say, you vibrate with the cosmos or whatever. No, I just mean like live more in tune with the universe around you. Which is what the Georgia Guidestones were telling you to do. It was an Indian religion, by the way, which is why it's so important that people get the history about stone about the Georgia Guidestones, not Stonehands. The Georgia Guidestones were just Indian religion, and they were telling you this sort of stuff. Just be in tune with nature. They weren't telling you to kill anybody. They said maintain the population at 500 million. They didn't say reduce the population to 500 million because this was Indians, and this is the kind of knowledge and stuff they were talking about. They're just talking about being in tune with nature in their own way, in their own version. Now, the Indians that came after the mound builders didn't understand it mathematically like the people built these mounds did. These people built these mounds were freaking geniuses, folks. And the people that came after, they might have been in tune with nature or something, but they didn't seem to know how to do this. They didn't have mathematical systems to the best of my knowledge. Shawnees, Wyandots, and Iroquois, and Cherokee, and all these different tribes. I keep saying Shawnee because that's the most prevalent around here, but these Indians didn't know math, but they knew to be in tune with the universe. So it's kind of like you read the Bible and you take it literally. You're kind of approaching it secondhand, on the surface, and that's what the Indians did from the mound builders. They must have had some contact with them, didn't understand it, but knew to be in tune with nature, right? So the exactitude of the mathematical concepts behind it were lost to them, just like to almost everyone who reads the Bible today. The mathematical concepts behind it and the Platonic drawings and things like this are lost, but you get the idea that you're supposed to be kind to your neighbor and good and all this. Well, that's true, but you're supposed to do it from a perspective of tuning yourself in with the universe as it really is, and understanding, looking within, and changing yourself. Okay, that's the real message. That's the real esoteric message. Not only in the Bible, but the Quran does this too. Why do you think you have 72 virgins? Here's 36 and 36, right? That's 72, right? 72 virgins were promised, right? you know, um, man, there's so many more things, but if I do too much, I just lose people. So gorgeous Roddy Chrome gave me some advice saying to break it down in smaller pieces. Maybe people understand it a little better. So I don't want to give you too many concepts. Here I already gave you the city of Revelation in the Bible and compared it with the mathematics of the mountains from right here in Marietta, Ohio. And that's mind-blowing enough. If that doesn't just completely blow you away, I don't know what does. I mean, that's just amazing to me. So anyway, here's City of Revelation by John Mitchell. You can find it on Amazon. Not my book, obviously. So I don't have anything to gain by selling you that book. But here's my book. Why is the moon a cube? Okay. Talks about moon symbolism. It's not going to be as precise as the next one that I make about these topics. Okay. Because I was using Google Maps. So I was missing some of the measurements. And I only had one chapter about the mounts, but I had all kinds of information about symbolism and things in there. Esoteric knowledge. As my understanding grows, I'm going to continue trying to explain it to you And I could be wrong on some things. I don't claim expertise. So I hope that you grow with me and help me to understand things better. Um, Definitely my goal in life is just to improve my understanding. I made a mistake recently. I said that Philo-Taxis was in Genesis, and it just isn't. I looked for that forever yesterday, and I was like, where did I get that number? I added something wrong in my head, so it just sometimes mistakes happen. So if you remember me saying that Philo-Taxis uh, is in Genesis, I can't find it again. So I added those numbers right there where I thought they should be 50 different ways, and I must have just did something wrong. So we all make mistakes, we all grow, and I don't mind if you say, well, no, that can't be right because, and you can prove it. Hey, I'll join your side. That's because I'm not in it to. I mean, I know I have the book for sale or whatever, but I'm not getting rich off the book. I'm doing fine without it. I'm here to just learn, try to understand the universe better for myself, and that's I feel like that's the best any of us can do. And I invite you to help me with that. By the way, if you know people that are great in math, geometry especially, and would like to participate, I plan on going to different mounts, especially the Newark mounts, which they already understand, and it's online that they. I think even Glenn Beck talked about it one time about squaring the circle right there in the mounds in Newark. So they're aware of it there, but for somehow they missed it in these other mounds. There used to be bigger areas marked off in these mounds too. There was like a 27-acre square over here, huge area. It's all just houses now built on top of it. And there was another one over here. The Squire and Davis maps from the early 1800s from the surveyors. They uh, they showed so much more than what's present. Even here in Belpre, the second town over from Marietta in Ohio, there used to be all kinds of mounds, but now there's just one left, and it's right at the edge of a parking lot at Hardy's parking lot. It's just a little tiny one. But history records that there were lots of mounds. There was all kinds of damage done. I did find one online video on YouTube, and the guy was a Mormon, incidentally, which has nothing really to do with what he found, but he found some places also. Where was it? I want to say it was in Ohio, but I forgot now. It's been a while since I watched the video. But they found the what do you call this? The menorah. Yeah, the seven candle menorah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they found a mound with that used to be a menorah. Wow! So somebody had this knowledge, right? And it there you can still see it from satellite maps, the imprint of it, but the mound is gone. So much has been lost to history. Now the people that saw it, you'd think they would have made more of that, so I feel like it is sort of being covered up in a way. Lots of our history's covered up because they want to push on you the more controlling aspects of religion and not the religion that you can personally use from within and understand the cosmos better for yourself. There's no control in that. But if they can make you go to church and make you tithes, and they can use your church for tax write-offs and launder money and stuff like that, yeah, that's. Think about how in when Notre Dame burned down, that man, they knew they were going to use that for a bunch of money. I mean, they planned this. Both Republicans and Democrats together planned this. This is how religion and churches are used all over the world, let alone the pedophilia and all this. When Notre Dame burned down, I mean, Donald Trump was in Wisconsin in Burnsville, and that very day as it was burning down, and Michelle Obama was floating down the Seine River with a necklace that said burning on it. I mean, you think they're two different parties, but they're not. They all work together to launder money because they're all criminals, all of them. Trump's just as big a criminal as Biden, but he wanted to get elected, so he did some things for us. So was he still a better choice than Biden? Well, yeah. But he's still a criminal. He still tried to take over the government. He should still be in jail. So some things worked out for us in our favor, but I cut him no slack for the illegal things he did. Okay. Illegal, still illegal, still immoral, still wrong. Both sides are criminals. They're all in this crap together. Let's just be real honest. So, anyway, um, I noticed that the last couple videos I made, I haven't really been talking about Hugh as much. But last video, we did the 153 fish, and I wanted to go back and talk about how that 53 is so important because that's Hugh's birthday, 53. And we talked about how the Georgia Guidestones were destroyed 42 years, 3 months, and 14 days after they were unveiled in 1980. And 42 was on Hugh's birth certificate, or not certificate, birth pictures that were taken by George Towers on 9/11. So the reason that those guidestones were destroyed is because Hugh's book is about to come out. I talk all the time about the number 42 and about how it's a representation of 314. You've seen my videos. You know that I mentioned that many times before they just destroyed the guidestones 42 years, 3 months, and 14 days after they were unveiled. And the reason that they did that, when they did that, was to mark that they know Hugh's book is coming out. They're trying to hide the connection between Hugh and the fact that he worked for the guy who built the Guidestones. Because the more you can verify Hugh's story, and historians can verify Hugh's story, then they can connect Hugh back to the governors, rapists that are still running pedophile rings after all these years up in Oakland County, Michigan. It goes back to 9/11 and to Kennedy's assassination. I just realized you were so busy thinking I wasn't looking for comments, Alpha. Let me read some of the stuff you're saying here so I catch up here. You still dabble with English gematria. Well, the only thing, Alpha, is that Hubbard is intentionally, if you think about the name Hubbard, I mean, automatically things come to mind like the founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard. I believe that he got his information probably from military sources or people he knows in the military that know this and that are promoting what he does. It doesn't mean that he's completely wrong on every single point, because I see the English gematria being used on TV commercials and things sometimes still to this day. And I have a vast library of things I've collected. And so, I understand it very, very well. All right. But Hubbard is intentionally taking people down the wrong road, away from understanding what Hugh's telling, the real history of your country. And all of his conclusions are really no different than Alex Jones, because everything he does goes, Illuminati and Freemasons did everything. And that's complete BS, okay? What's going on here is not Illuminati. It's not Freemasons. What it is this is the military stealing trademarks, helping presidents commit theft. And it is the military that creates codes and ciphers around the world. That's what the British Codes and Ciphers Office does. That's what our own NSA and CIA and our own military does. Special Forces uses codes and ciphers. They've been doing it for thousands of years. So most of that is military stuff today. When I'm talking about Greek gematria, that's the values of actual Greek letters that have been used by the ancient Greeks, 2,500 years ago. Verified, absolute, scientific. It's not military. That's the value of their letters. So when you say Lord Jesus Christ is the same as the 31,680 perimeter of Earth, you're talking about science and the way that they measured the Earth and their measurements for Earth at the time. It then incorporated that into the name of Lord Jesus Christ. It's a lot different than what Hubbard's doing. Hubbard's conclusions are to distract you from reality with a little bit of truth mixed in. Okay, that's the problem. For example, what are your thoughts on Psalms 90, verse 12? Well, let's see. Psalms 90, verse 12. Believe it or not, I don't have the entire Bible memorized. I have to look it up. So let's see. Chapter 90, verse 12. So teach us to number our days that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Yeah. No, that's good. Being aware of how long you have and understanding the numbers of the cosmos. There's so much more I can put in. I mean, and I will. Over the years, we're going to talk about how all this is so finely attuned. And you can find it online. It's not like I'm not inventing any of this stuff. This is not original with me. I'm just demonstrating things I've already read. Now, obviously, where I measured the mound, that I figured out for myself. I can't even find any measurements of the mound online anywhere. So, see, if you're not in discussion, that's fine. Just trying to show you something that is very interesting. Oh no, I'm into it. I just didn't see your post right away. There, I'm totally into talking about it. I was just lost in my thoughts. Let's see, 42, Revelation 4, verse 2. Immediately in spirit. All right, I'm game. I'll look that up. Let's see, Revelation chapter 4, verse 2. I was in the spirit, and behold, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. Oh, okay. So, yeah. So I was in the spirit. So even in a sense, he's kind of saying I was in the spirit. I'm not saying something that was literal. That in and of itself should kind of guide somebody to say, yeah, it's not literal. He said, may I show you something I've uncovered using English gematria? Well, I got about 15 minutes. Do you see the call-in link? You're welcome to call in and just call in and tell me real quick. But I have to be done in 15 minutes. But if you want to tell me within about that much time, just use the call-in link and Alpha, and we'll you can tell me all about it. I don't mind. Again, English gematria is used by military. This is military ciphers and military codes, and it was the military that helps presidents steal from the American people. 42, when I mentioned the guide stones, right? Yeah, 42. It existed 42 years, 3 months, 14 days, and 3 times 14 is 42. Something I talk about all the time. So, what do you see, Alpha? Do you see the link? Let's see. Maybe I can. Well, let me put it here. Try that. Is that the right link? Invite guests. It should. I think so. Studio stream. Yeah. Try that. That should let you in. I'll give you here just a few minutes. I've got so many more things that I'm going to say in future videos, but I don't want to confuse people. Even this, the 36, 36, 36, 36, 72, and 72. Aha! Hello. So you are the famous Alpha. Alpha generation gematria. Let's see, I can't hear you. Are you talking? I've got no sound from you, my friend. Yeah, no sound at all. I don't know if you hear me or not. I think you probably still do. But I've got nothing from your end. Oh, wait a minute. You know why? I wonder if add to the stream. I have to add you. I'm kind of new to this thing, but I've got. Oh, wait a minute. You know why?
All good.
I wonder. All right.
Add to the stream.
Yeah,
hey,
go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Sure can.
Oh, very good. Just a slight lag, I guess. Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear the echo. Maybe try turning the sound down a little bit or something.
Oh, very good. Yeah, let me hit my TV sound. Can you hear me now?
I hear the echo. Maybe turn the sound down a little bit or something.
Oh, very good. Okay, that should cut out the echo.
Great.
Is that better?
Yeah. Perfect. Definitely.
Yes. Now I don't hear myself 5 minutes later. You said you were going to be on for a few more minutes, but no, I've actually watched you for years as a different channel, and what you was talking about Hubbard and he is such a ploy, and I've I've tried to tell people to quit listening to him. He is leading you in the wrong direction and whatnot. But when I found you, and then found these other gematria channels, because a couple years ago, gematria on YouTube was hitting real hard and real big. And still not today. YouTube kind of has shut me off on what I have posted and whatnot. So I haven't done any posting or anything in a while. But what I've come with English gematria, nobody has used English gematria. Okay, so example, it's a like four sets of numbers. Your full ways, your backward ways, reverse ways, and stuff like that, right? You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? When you pull up the calculator, you see you will get four sets of numbers, and everybody looks at those numbers.
Yeah, he has 4 ciphers on there. Yeah.
Right. 4 ciphers. And what I have uncovered, it seems so simple, yet nobody has ever talked about it, especially not Hubbard, especially not any of his following and whatnot. When you listen to other gematria fellow people who use it, they only use and talk about, oh, here's one number. Here's 2 numbers. Oh, here's a match of maybe 3 numbers at most. And the matches mean this, and they have no clue. Okay, they have no clue how to use English gematria. And what I've uncovered is I honestly believe in my heart. That's why I asked you about Psalms 90 verse 12. Do you find that literal? Because there's more. Once you read that, there's examples about how we're fools of not knowing when the time has come, right? There are several examples, even stemming from Jesus himself, okay, that mentions that we are basically fools if we don't know how to number our days. And what's interesting about Psalms 90, it is a book of Moses. It's the 5th. It's IV. What is that? What's IV? Is in Roman numerals? Is that or is that? Okay. Psalms 90 is the book of Moses, the 4th book. If you look at the palm of your hand, both of them, you have an IV on the palm of your hand.
Yeah, I mentioned that in other videos where some Muslim came online and was talking to apostate prophet about that, and how he claimed that the IV marks 1881. And I explained in a former video what that 1881 is actually talking about, because 18 through 81 added together is 3168, the perimeter of the earth.
18, right? Oh, that's very good. I also see 99. Oh, I can't hear you.
No, I didn't say anything. I'm not. I mean, maybe if you
had
X or something.
I'm sorry. Yes, that is very true in all in all aspects of the essence. But it's like how you're seeing and feeling and knowing what you're uncovering and coming across, and just like I mentioned with this. I want to kind of, because I don't want to keep you if you're in a hurry, but I really want to point out what I've uncovered. And like I said, I'm slowly starting with the Psalms 90 verse 12. I find that literal. We literally should know how to number our days. So I did a lot of number work. Okay. And I'm sorry if you're seeing my head. But what I have uncovered with when you look at those 4 sets of numbers, have you ever tried to just look at those 4 sets of numbers and use all the numbers like a math equation? Have you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, here, let me use this for example. I'm trying to remember. I have so many. It's been a while since I've done all this, but for example, I can type into English gematria. Okay, type this in for me if you have a computer and can pull it up so you can see it yourself.
On the
Type
Gematria calculator?
Yes, sir. English gematria. And it's very simple, and you'll see it once you type it in. Type in second, minute,
Let's see, share
hour,
screen. Let's do
second, minute, hour, day, month. 5 words. Type in 5 words. Second, minute, hour, day, month.
seconds. Minutes. And what was the rest of it?
Hour, like the hour, HOUR, and month, like a 5-star like a 5-star pentagram. 5 simple words. And when you pull that up in the English gematria and you look at the numbers, what do you see?
I see a 119. Is that what you were looking at?
Okay, that starts off with your September 11th. Okay, and then I'm trying to pull mine up real quick. So, gematria calculator. Basically, what you have, if you use all those numbers and go right to left, using all those numbers, here's the numbers you get. You get 911, 846, 40, 21. You get when you use all those numbers like a math equation. You come up with September 11th, 8:46, 40 seconds, the year of 2001. And 8:46 and 40 seconds is the exact time of 9/11. The exact time. Okay, when you Google exact time of 9/11.
Did I do everything right on there? Because I got the 119 reverse, I got 344, then I got 115 on full reduction, and English ordinal, I got 304.
English, yeah. Hold on, English.
So I see your 119. I just don't have the same numbers on the other ones.
Right. See, this is why I say I've learned to use all of the numbers, and I use it like a math equation. So there's a couple numbers you are adding here. I've got it now. Okay. This is crazy talk, what I've uncovered, because I have tried this on Mount St. Helens, and like I put in everything I put in, and the time, and if there's any people killed in it, anything, because I use all these numbers like a math equation, and nobody wants to just hear it out. So YouTube shut me down, and I quit doing it. And I just thought maybe, okay, here's what you're seeing. You're seeing numbers of 304, 15, 344.
Yeah. There you go. I figured out the screen share there so people can see it. Oh, did that cut you off when I did that? Wait, are you still there?
Yes, I'm
Oh,
back.
there we go. Okay. Okay. I have to
Very
add
good
you
on your
and the screen share at the same time. Okay, go ahead.
Very good. Yes. Now I can see that your screenshot. Hey, and do you realize that when if you type in just on the note, you see the 115 and 119? Do you realize if you type either 115, those four sets of numbers are exactly the same without changing anything? All four numbers are exactly the same as 119. 115 and 119 are exactly the same, all four codes. And you want to know what else is exactly the same as both of those numbers? The two words of playing God. The two words playing, Playing, playing God, those two words are identical to 115 and 119. It's crazy. Okay. So I've uncovered that that's what they're doing, playing God. Okay. So
Playing
whenever,
God. That's what you said. Playing God. Okay.
right, just playing God. And playing God, those four sets of numbers are identical to 119 and 115 without having to change any cipher. All four ciphers are exactly the same. Okay. So second, minute, hour, day, month, they do things in reverse. So it starts with September 11th. 4 plus 4 is 8. The 1 in front of the 115 is added to the 3. So you get 846. The 1 and 5 get added together. 846, leaving 3 seconds with the 3. The 3 is what? 2 plus 1. I mean, it's you have to do mathematics too. You have to do the laws of mathematics. I'm not changing any of these numbers. All the numbers are there in the code, but yet the
I feel
code.
like I'm typing up the wrong things or whatever, but so I may not be following exactly what you're saying, but that that doesn't mean you're wrong or whatever. I'm just trying to. I may not be
Well,
understanding exactly what you're doing.
not only second, minute, hour, day, month. Type in 911, 9, the number 9, 1, 1.
Yeah. Gives you 11. It just adds it for you. Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
I've got 2 or 3 minutes and I have to get ready to go to work.
Okay, type in 911 world event and then the word warn. 911 world event and then warn.
Okay. And I got 205, 79, 195, and 87.
No. You typed something. You typed something wrong. The number 9, NINE. Then.
Oh, you want me to spell it out?
Yeah. Oh, yes. You have to spell that. Yeah, you have to spell the numbers out.
Okay. Oh, okay. There we go. Now you got what we had earlier.
Right. You have the exact same thing as second, minute, hour, day, month. Okay. Now, when I talk about verse 12 to number our days, I'm wrapping this up. You can maybe dabble with this. If you type in stuff like Mount St. Helens, Mount St. Helens planned event or hurricane, if you take things out of the news and then look at all the numbers. Don't just look at one. Don't just look at two, but look and you'll start seeing the days. You'll start seeing the date. You'll be like, wait a minute. I see July 21st right there. So I see 721, and they said that this tornado was a category 3. It killed 4 people. If you look at all the numbers like this, I'm telling you, it shows the exact date of every event. It will show the number of people that died. It's scary. It's crazy talk. So with Psalms 90 verse 12, if you want to know how to number your days, what you do is you take your birthday from the day you were born, okay, and then you get a guesstimate. You go by today's date. So from whenever you were born to today's date, then you enter your name into English gematria, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll see the 4 sets of numbers, okay? And then add a couple of words by trial and error, like your numbers or by the numbers. And you will see that if you take from your birthday until like today in numbers, okay, like days, not years, months, but days, the day you were born until now, the number of days. So if I'm 50 or whatnot, I've lived almost 20,000 days, I think. So you can actually come up with a guesstimate of your days. And I know this because I've tried it on actors, I've tried it on people, and whatnot. And lo and behold, when I've looked at from the day
Well,
they were
I'm
born.
running out of time, so I'm going to have to end it here. But definitely make
Thank
like
you.
a video about it and maybe explain it. Show some examples or something, and that would help people understand it a little better, I think.
Well, I'll definitely try to make a video to.
I do think like the world is sort of like I was saying is the cosmos is literally built to sync in such amazing ways. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another level to it, But I do know that when you see this on TV and being used, this is your military using this stuff to plan events, just like Kennedy's assassination was on 411 Elm Street, and you had Nightmare on Elm Street, and code for missing persons is 411. I mean, I know that
I know we could sit here and yes, well, and I just anymore myself, I just say the damn evils, whoever's controlled. I don't try to. I know it's the people that are surrounding us, but what's controlling them? I just don't. There's more with what you've uncovered and what I've uncovered. There's more to it than just us little peons in the military and whatnot. I mean, there's a lot of
there may be some cosmic element from God, especially when you talk about the big stuff. When you talk about the measurements of the universe and all that.
Yeah,
things that only
the coincidences
God or the universe can do.
The coincidences.
So, Tim, I hate to cut you, but if I don't go now, I'm going to be late for work, so I have to go.
Well, I appreciate you listening. I know I rambled a lot. Okay, well, you have a good evening. Yep.
Yep, you too. Talk to you later.
Okay, bye.
All right, I'm going to end it here. Bye.